Kansas City is unique in the fact that the city actually sits right on the state line between Kansas and Missouri. And today we're tackling one of the biggest questions newcomers face. Should you live on the Kansas side or the Missouri side of Kansas City? Hi, I'm Michael Mars, and this is my twin brother Mason. We're a local real estate team right here in Kansas City. Our team helps people relocate to the KC Metro, and if you're thinking about a move to Kansas City, we'd love to help. There's a lot to unpack here, so today we want to highlight a few things to think about so you can decide which is right for you. Because of its name, people often assume Kansas City is located in Kansas, and as we mentioned before, they're not entirely wrong, but the truth is most of the city is actually located in Missouri. The way the city is laid out can be a bit confusing if you're new to the area. The Missouri River runs right across the state and actually makes up the northern border of the state of Kansas. So everything north of the Missouri River is on the Missouri side. If you head south of the river, you'll find the metro area is split pretty evenly between the two states. Kansas City is made up of 6 main counties. North of the river on the Missouri side, you have counties like Clay County and Platte County. And the biggest county on the south side of the river on the Missouri side is Jackson County. On the Kansas side, the 3 main counties are Leavenworth, Wyandotte, and Johnson County. The first question you may want to ask yourself as you try and decide where on this map you want to land is what kind of lifestyle do you want to live? The heart of downtown Kansas City is located right here in Missouri. So if you're looking to live in or near the city and all that it has to offer, Missouri is the clear choice here. If you want to live in the suburbs, there are actually some really great options on both sides of the state line. North of the river, on the Missouri side, in Clay and Platte County, you'll find cities like Parkville, Gladstone, and Liberty, which offer that more suburban feel. On the Kansas side, you'll find suburbs like Overland Park, Shawnee, and Olathe. If you want to land in the suburbs, I'd have to give the slight edge to the Kansas side for a couple of reasons. The first being that these areas are a little more upscale compared to the suburbs on the Missouri side. This comes at a cost, of course, which we'll highlight a little later. There's also a ton of great entertainment options for families in these areas, and the school districts are really highly rated. We'll get into these things a little bit more in detail as we move along in the video. If you're looking to live out in the country, or maybe you just want to live in a smaller suburb, I really think you can accomplish this in either state you choose. Areas on the Missouri side like Smithville and Kearney sit out away from the main suburbs north of the river and offer a more secluded feel. There are still options for your typical subdivision type housing here, but the cities themselves have a bit more of a small town vibe to them. On the Kansas side, you can find similar options in towns like Basehor, Spring Hill, and Gardner. Another thing to keep in mind is because the city spans 2 states, there are some legal differences between the two that you may want to consider. To start, the minimum wage is about $5 higher in Missouri at $12.30, while the rate in Kansas still matches the federal minimum wage at $7.25. Another big difference is Kansas recently signed a bill that allows for school choice within the state. This means that parents can send their kids to school in a different district than the one they live in, as long as the other district has space available. If you're into sports and gambling, Kansas may be the best choice because sports betting is legal there, while it still remains illegal in Missouri. That said, because we're so close to the state line, it's pretty common for people to drive over to Kansas to place their bets, turn around, and drive right home to Missouri. The 2 states also have very different laws when it comes to alcohol, tobacco, and marijuana. Kansas has a much higher sin tax on alcohol and tobacco products, and there are also more restrictions in Kansas around when and where alcohol can be sold. Marijuana laws are also very different because as of about 2 years ago, it became legal in Missouri for recreational use. However, this is not the case in Kansas. There might be a temptation to drive across state lines for this too, but you may want to think twice about that because it's still illegal to bring it back with you to the Kansas side. Crime is another factor to consider. Like any major city in the country, anywhere there's people, there's going to be crime. But there are pockets on both the Kansas and the Missouri side where crime rates will be higher or lower depending on the area you're in. Generally speaking, crime rates tend to be higher the closer you get to the city center and lower the further you move out. There can be some variability with this though, so it's important to look closer at specific areas you're interested in. On the Missouri side, for example, you notice that the areas north of the river have lower crime rates than the areas south of the river as you get closer to downtown. If you compare some of the more suburban areas in Kansas and Missouri, you'll find that the states are actually pretty even. Liberty, Missouri and Overland Park, Kansas are both very comparable, as are cities like Olathe in Kansas and Parkville in Missouri. Again, a lot of this data is hyper-local, so it's important to really research the areas you're considering. If you have a family, school district is likely something that's super important to you. There are several different districts in the metro area, and you'll be happy to know that there are some really solid options on both sides of the state line. In fact, I personally wouldn't let this be the reason I chose one state over the other. Because of the top 10 districts in the metro, 5 are in Missouri and 5 are in Kansas. If you really wanted to give an edge to one state based on school district, I'd have to give the slight edge to Kansas, as the Blue Valley School District in Overland Park holds the top spot. Blue Valley is consistently ranked among the top schools in the Kansas City metro area and in the top 1% nationally. Missouri claims the second spot on the list, though, with the Blue Springs School District. Blue Springs is a suburb in the southern part of the metro on the Missouri side, and this school district is actually the highest rated in the county. Other Missouri districts in the top 10 include Lee Summit, Park Hill, Liberty, and North Kansas City. Districts on the Kansas side that made the top 10 include DeSoto, Olathe, Shawnee Mission, and Basehor. When it comes to entertainment, Missouri definitely has the edge. Like we said before, downtown Kansas City is located on the Missouri side, so there's a ton of stuff to do. There's great options for dining in areas like the River Market, Crossroads, and Power and Light District. The best part is all these areas are connected via the KC streetcar, which is a great public transportation option that's free to ride. Also along the streetcar's route are venues like the T-Mobile Center and the Kauffman Center. The T-Mobile Center hosts all kinds of shows, from musicians to comedians. The Kauffman Center is a beautiful building modeled after the Sydney Opera House. It's smaller than the T-Mobile Center and typically hosts events like musicals and the Kansas City Symphony. Not far from these two are smaller venues, the Uptown Theater and the Midland Theater, where you can see other touring artists. You'll find some more upscale shopping and dining options at the Country Club Plaza, which is an outdoor shopping district just south of the downtown area. If you're into art or history, you'll find the National World War I Museum and Memorial and the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art here in Missouri as well. The Art Museum has a huge lawn out front with sculptures, including the iconic giant shuttlecocks, and it's a great place to enjoy a picnic on a Saturday. There's also a 9-hole mini golf course on the property as well. If you have kids and you're looking for fun things to do, you can check out Crown Center. This is an indoor shopping space with many restaurants and shops built specifically with kids in mind. They have a toy store, candy shop, and a restaurant where the food is delivered by model trains. I've taken my daughter and she absolutely loves it. Science City is also right near there, and they have all kinds of exhibits for kids to explore and play. The Kansas City Zoo is also on the Missouri side, and it's definitely worth a trip. They actually just finished construction on a brand new aquarium that sits right in the middle, and it's included in the price of your ticket. You'll also find most of the sports stadiums on the Missouri side, including the Kansas City Chiefs, Royals, and the KC Current. This is the women's soccer team that just finished construction on their brand new stadium earlier this year. You don't have to be downtown to find entertainment options on the Missouri side, though. There's plenty of options north of the river in the suburbs as well. Shopping areas like Zona Rosa offer all kinds of places to eat, and they even have an outdoor ice skating rink that's open in the winter. And if you go a little further north, you'll find Smithville Lake. You can drop a boat in the water or do some camping or hiking. While Missouri probably wins out for most people when it comes to entertainment, it doesn't mean that you'll be bored out of your mind if you live over on the Kansas side. Kansas is full of great options for shopping and dining, and one of the best spots for this is the Legends Outlet. This is an outdoor shopping center with popular brands like Nike, Adidas, Michael Kors, and Levi's. There's a ton of restaurants here too, which makes it a great place to enjoy a night out. There's even a Dave & Buster's arcade for the kids. Not far from the Legends, you can catch a NASCAR race at Kansas Speedway or a Sporting KC game at Children's Mercy Park, where the men's pro soccer team plays. This area is also home to a minor league baseball team, the Kansas City Monarchs. These games are really fun and tickets are pretty affordable. If you want to catch a concert, there's a great outdoor amphitheater on the Kansas side that hosts all sorts of artists. We've been to several shows here and it's always a great time, especially on a nice evening in the summer. If you have kids, there's plenty for them in Kansas too. Deanna Rose Farm at Overland Park is a great place to check out. You'll see all kinds of animals, and you can even pet a baby calf and feed baby goats if you want. There's also several different trampoline parks and other fun things to do as a family in Overland Park. The last big difference between Kansas and Missouri that we have to highlight is how much it costs to live in each state. This is a huge factor for people as they make their decision about where they want to land. Generally speaking, your money won't go quite as far on the Kansas side. Property taxes tend to be a little higher over here in Johnson County compared to the areas on the Missouri side. We also see the same trend when we look at home prices. Over the last year, the average sales price in Johnson County was around $529,000. This is almost $100,000 more expensive than the next closest county on the Missouri side, with the average in Platte County coming in right around $430,000. Johnson County is a really nice area, but it certainly comes with a cost. This doesn't mean that there aren't other more affordable options on the Kansas side though. The average sales prices in the other two major Kansas counties were a lot cheaper. Leavenworth County averaged around $315,000, and Wyandotte County had an average sales price of just $229,000. The Missouri side is a bit more affordable, with average sales prices in Platte and Clay counties of $430,000 and $357,000. If you head south of the river on the Missouri side, the average sales price was even more affordable at $295,000. Keep in mind that these are just averages, and it's possible to find more expensive and more affordable pockets in both states. One other big thing to note with Missouri is that the city of Kansas City has a 1% earnings tax on income if you live or work in the city of Kansas City proper. This may not seem like much, but 1% can add up and every little bit counts. If you aren't going to be working in the city of Kansas City, you may want to consider living in a suburb on either side of the state line if you want to save that tax. So what do you think? Which state sounds better to you? If you're thinking about a move to Kansas City, we'd be happy to share more about our experience and help make a personalized recommendation for you. Click the link right below this video to book a call with us.